Hi, I'm Mike McCracken, and welcome back to our Living into Lent series here at First Presbyterian. Today is St. Patrick's Day, in case you haven't guessed or you didn't know that. You see my flashing shamrock this day, and so I'm glad to wish a happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. And on St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate at least the legend of St. Patrick, the man who was a missionary and a bishop in the early church in the 5th century, who, by legend, rid Ireland of all the snakes. Well, we've learned over history that perhaps that's more legend or more allegory than anything else, because there may not have been any snakes to rid Ireland of in the first place. But the truth is, that really doesn't matter. It hasn't stopped us, especially here in the United States, from having a big party in honor of St. Patrick on March 17th every year, pretty much since the beginning of the last century. It's a neat day, and one of the things that I think is really neat about it that has particular pertinence to us in today's world is that the tradition of St. Patrick's Day is that we will all wear green. We'll wear something green, whether we're Irish or not. I myself come from Scottish descent, although I do have some ancestors from Ireland. I still manage to wear my green, and then there are lots of people that have no connection to Ireland whatsoever, but they'll wear their green today. They'll wear a green shirt or a shamrock, a fancy shamrock like I'm wearing. It doesn't matter, because on St. Patrick's Day, everybody can be a little bit Irish, and everybody can have something in common. You know, in a world where we are struck every single day by how much division there is. Division that leads to war, division that leads to us tribing up in one way or another over what news channel we watch, over what political party we support, over what teams we pull for or regions we live in, over what races we are, over what our religion is. It's a good reminder that, at least on a small scale, we can all put on a little bit of green and recognize, looking one to another, that we can all, in at least a tiny way, do something that unites us together. In Galatians chapter 3, we hear from Paul that there's neither Jew nor Greek, nor slave nor free, nor male or female, for we're all one in Jesus Christ, for those of us who are believers. It extends even beyond that. Jesus tells us in Matthew's gospel that the things that we really need to focus on are to love the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. And that is the first and most important commandment. And the second is just like it, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Jesus says all the law and the prophets, everything that's been heard up until that time, hangs on just these two commandments. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's hard to do sometimes. It's hard to look on the face of every single person that you run into and see them as your neighbor. But that's precisely what Jesus calls us to do. That's precisely what this commandment leads us into. And maybe as a small step towards that, when you look over to somebody you've never met before and who might look like they have absolutely nothing in common, if on today, St. Patrick's Day, you see them wearing a little patch of green, just like you are, well, you can know that that's a start. And if you can start there and build up, who knows where we might get, and who knows where things might go in days to come if we could all just look to one another and love our neighbors as ourselves. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.